Yo, what is up there, guys? This is Mothership checking in to give you a quick recap of the GSL Code S round of 32 Group A with SKT1's Rain, Samsung's Cons, Solar, Entus's Hero, and MVPDongRaeGu. Now, the first match of the group was a PvZ between Rain and Solar. Game 1 starts out on Yansu, and Solar starts out with a pretty risky hatch before pool into a third before gas, while Rain opts for a reactive 1 gate, no cyber core expand, into Stargate with 5 Phoenixes. To follow up the Phoenixes, Rain decides to go for an aggressive 7 gate, but thanks to Solar's Lings delaying the push and its heavy Ling spine crawler defense, is able to defend the attack with minimal losses. Rain, in a last-ditch effort to take hold of the game, begins trying to build up that death ball by building up his Void Ray and Colossus army, while Solar goes for a Roach-infested army and gets his 4th base. Utilizing great multitasking though, Solar never really lets Rain leave his base until he has Hive with Ultras and feels like he has enough to deal with the push and quickly takes game number 1. Game 2 between these two titans starts out basically the same, except Rain now decides to do a 3-gate into Twilight Council, indicating some sort of all-in. But Solar manages to get in 2 Lings in and sees the council just as it is finishing. Solar, at a moment of amazing decision making, decides to sack his natural, but without any spine crawlers and not having enough units to defend, the powerful 7-gate with Blink proves to be too much and he is quickly broken at his natural. With a score of 1-1, we now hop into Daedalus Point where both players decided to play a little bit more defensively, Rain starting out with his Cybernetic score before his Nexus, and Solar getting his Gas, Queens, and Ling speed before his 3rd. Rain opts to do a similar build as in game number 1, applying pressure at the 3rd, doing a bit of damage and forcing units out of Solar. The Supreme Phoenix control also proves to be incredibly pesky and forces Solar into Hydras, even catching a few lone ones severely crippling the capabilities of Solar. In the meantime, Rain builds up his Colossus gateway unit count while getting his 3rd, and with a crushing engagement, Rain is able to take the game and wins the series. So we enter our second best of 3 and second PvZ between Entus's Hero and DRG on Habitation Station. And Hero, unlike Rain, goes for a Forge Fast expand, while DRG uncharacteristically goes Pool before Hatch, but quickly takes the gold base. Hero goes Oracle into Twilight, but the Oracle proves to be rather ineffective, so he defers to taking the gold as well. DRG, though, will have nothing to do with that and puts the pressure on with Swarm Host and Ling Roach, delaying Hero's Colossi even more. Hero attempts to do some wicked Warp Prism harass in the meantime, but DRG is completely on top of it, and pull after pull of key units with a maxed out Viper Swarm Host Roach army positioned in the center of the map for the rest of the game means that DRG is able to take game number 1 with an impressive show of ZVP. Now, in game number 2 on Yansu, Hero appears to be set to do a cannon rush, but is stopped instantly by the Pool before a Hatch again by DRG, who also keeps the drone on the probe until the Lings are out. Hero, in turn, goes up to 4 gates and gets a Twilight Council with Blink and +2 attack this game, but decides to get his 3rd and appears to be playing safe and macroing up. DRG looks set up for the late game as well, but with a high sentry count, Hero begins to push out just as DRG's Swarm Hosts come out and is able to actually eliminate the 3rd base and DRG before the number of Swarm Hosts hits their tipping point, tying up the score. Hopping into the rubber match, we see Hero going for a gateway expand on Heavy Rain while DRG goes 3 Hatch, Gas before Pool. In response, Hero sends his first Zealot, then Stalker and Mothership Core to the 3rd base and weakens the hatchery greatly, but pays for it with the Stalker. A cute fake Oracle also causes DRG to pull his drones right before Hero goes up for a high sentry move out, forcing out more Lings and simultaneously letting Hero get his 3rd base up. A misplaced Zealot, however, lets all the produced Lings get into the natural and main, but lightning fast photon overcharges on both Nexi means that Hero only loses a few probes and a little bit of mining time. Both players spend the mid game trying to jive for angles and harassment, but Hero eventually is able to force field off Swarm Host and Roaches, taking minimal losses for the previously weakened hatchery, while DRG is taking his 4th. Suddenly, though, the game descends into a bit of chaos as Hero moves out, getting a large group of Roaches, which in turn attack his 4th base. Hero then attempts to commit to an attack at the 4th base, and is not successful, but ends up killing the Hive in DRG's main with the ever-active 2nd Warp Prism this game, and recalls to the 4th base to defend, solidifying Hero's lead against the immobilized swarm-hosting Zerg. Left and right, Hero keeps warping in Zealots with 2 warp prisms and controlling the center of the map with his Gateway Colossus army while trying to build up his Void Ray count. However, once he gets a well-controlled engagement, Hero is able to kill the 4th and a massive swarm host of DRGs and eventually takes the series 2-1. Now for the winner's match to see who will be the first player to advance to the round of 16. Will it be Hero or Rain in this next PvP? The first game is played on Polar Night, and Rain sneakily hides a pylon for his Dark Shrine and DTs while putting his Twilight Council in his main, while Hero also puts his Twilight in his main for Blink. In a crazy turn of events, Hero flies a hallucinated Phoenix and sees the Twilight Council being faux chrono boosted and throws down the Robo, but also accidentally finds the Dark Shrine of Rain while looking to find a place to proxy his own pylon in the same location. This forces Hero to play defensively until he can get an observer out, while Rain gets a quicker expansion, but giving Hero the Robo advantage. Hero tries to push his advantage, but neither gains or loses any ground, and the game eventually evens out incredibly. With 3 bases though, Rain is overran by Hero with an Archon and upgrade advantage, allowing Hero to take game number 1. Now, game 2 starts with another hidden pylon by Rain at the northern side of Daedalus Point, which is used to house the proxy Stargate, with the safe response by Hero getting a Stargate himself and actually finding the Stargate itself. He quickly kills the Oracle with the Phoenix. The Master of Guise though, Rain hides a Twilight and Dark Shrine but gets it scouted by the early Phoenix and gets completely shut down. Even with a great final push, Rain is forced to play the winner of DRG and Solar, meaning that CJ Entus' Hero is the first player to advance to the round of 16 in Code S. Okay, hopping into match number 4 between Solar and MVP's DRG. This is a ZVZ and it starts off hot with a heavily committed 10 pool on Polar Night by DRG against Solar's Hatch first. The Hatch does not get cancelled and DRG gets 2 drone kills for free before retreating and defending easily. With speed finishing way before Solar's, DRG opts to take advantage of this, but really isn't able to capitalize at all and ends up only getting a few drone kills, but does drone up heavily behind his aggression and takes a 3rd base not too long after. Solar decides to go for double Evo and prepares to take his 3rd base while DRG gets his layer up. While Solar has an upgrade advantage, DRG's 3-base economy kicks in and takes an amazing engagement to secure him the first win in the series. Yonsu's the battleground for game number 2, and DRG is not playing games by going for an even more aggressive 9 pool. But this time Solar did go pool before Hatch. Solar with the later pool pulls drones with his lesser link count to defend, but the micro of DRG means that Solar loses a large amount of mining time, but does get his hatchery up far more quickly. DRG gets double gas before Solar, roaches and goes for his 3rd, but the production of Solar is incredible and kills the 3rd of DRG. However, in a moment of brilliance, DRG counters with his own lings and cancels the 3rd base of Solar, giving DRG the higher roach count and an equal 3rd base timing. In a curious swing of the game though, Solar uses his higher ling numbers to get a run by while DRG fails an attack at Solar's 3rd, and Solar is able to counter and overpower DRG, bringing these 2 titans to the rubber match. Surprisingly, game number 3 has no early pools, but rather a Hatch first by DRG and Hatch after pool by Solar, and both players decide to macro up and go for roaches, but DRG getting his lair first. Once Solar goes for his 3rd, he pushes out with both queens, roaches, and a ton of lings, but with some clutch transfuses, DRG is able to defend what could have been a devastating push. During the counterattack, in a move that Dustin Browder himself would have been proud of, Solar knocks down the rocks, dividing DRG's chasing roach force. The roach game of tug of war happens for a few minutes with both players getting minor run-bys, but Solar's supply creeps up quickly and is eventually able to find the angle and eliminate DRG from Code S. A rematch now between Solar and Rain gives a shot to Solar to redeem himself and earn his spot in the round of 16. First game is on Heavy Rain, and the Protoss contender does exactly the same blink all-in that he did in their original match. Solar this time, however, is able to buy time and delay far longer than he did in the first match, and commits a huge counter that forces Rain to commit resources to his wall and to pull back. In the meantime, Solar contains Rain with his Lings, goes for Swarm Host and starts his fourth, but Rain decides that his only chance to come back in this game is to give it one last push. Rain somehow manages to hold on for a miraculous amount of time with amazing engagements and defending like a world champ. But Rain eventually goes down and Solar is able to take game number 1. Rain's last chance is on Frost, his map choice, and the only time this map gets played all night. Both players play incredibly greedy, Rain going Nexus first into Gateway, and Solar going 3 hatch before pool, applying a full-out macro game. True to his nature, Rain goes for his typical 1-gate Stargate into Forge before adding his other gates and does nominal damage but denies Overlords from reigning free. In a miraculously lucky engagement, Rain is able to defend a sizable amount of Lings that catch him out in the middle of the open, and takes his third a bit before the fourth of Solar while building up his Colossus Void Ray army. Meanwhile, Solar builds up for a Baneling-centric player that does a surprising amount of damage for how poorly the actual engagement itself was, but is still put behind and attempts a Mutaswitch. This Mutaswitch, however, gets seen by Rain and triggers a counter by Rain, which forces Solar to GG out. The final match of the best of 3 is played on Daedalus Point. Solar goes for a 3 hatch before pool, but Rain does a safe gateway with Cybernetics Core expand. Rain inevitably gets his Stargate and does a repeat of a Zealot aggression from the first series, but Solar this time is more prepared. Solar attempts to delay the third and forces out force fields, but Rain's Colossus comes out just in time to defend his third. Solar, trying something different, goes for a Mutacorruptor Ling composition, thinning out Rain and allowing Solar to get a 5th base up. Believing as a superior composition, Solar attacks into the third of Rain multiple times, taking expensive losses while Rain kills off the 5th of Solar with Zealot Warpins. With a massive amount of extended range Phoenixes and amazing defensive play, Rain is able to push forward and strangle Solar, eventually letting Rain move on to the round of 16. So, quick recap. The two Protosses, Hero and Rain, are able to advance 2-0 and 2-1 respectively, while our two Zergs, DRG and Solar, fell 0-2 and 1-2 in series. If you enjoyed this video, guys, please like and share it with as many people as possible to help me win a trip to Korea to see these games live. And also, feel free to check me out on youtube.com/InfestedMothership for more gaming content. Thanks for watching, and like always, SCMothership checking out.